So we started off by saying welcome to Plugged In Chatham-Kent, your business podcast. I'm Andrew, working in economic development. Today I have with me, and this is where I'm going to pass over to you. You are
Elizabeth Suni.
Awesome. From
Wooly Doodle Apparel Inc.
Yeah. Wooly Doodle. Every time I hear the business name, by the way, I think of Wooly Bully, the song.
Oh, yeah.
Bully.
I don't.
No, you don't?
No.
I do.
It's good.
Goes through my head.
It's great.
Makes the day more
energizing. It's like a good upbeat song.
It is,
yeah,
right?
It's a great way to start your day.
So what is Wooly Doodle?
Wooly Doodle is actually a clothing company.
Okay.
And it is a clothing company that actually started as a hobby for me.
Okay.
If I'm being honest, because a lot of people ask, like, why is it named Wooly Doodle? Because it doesn't really make sense.
Other than the song.
That we hope to inspire in you.
Yes. Yeah.
It actually was first a knitting company for a hot minute. So this goes back like maybe 5 years, and I've always been really creative, and I taught myself how to knit.
Cool.
And I started making these really big chunky scarves, and I thought, like, this is it. I'm going to get rich knitting scarves. And I think I made like 10 and named the company Wooly Doodle because wool, and then we had a dog at the time that's a golden doodle. And I was all ready to go until I realized, like, knitting is not at all lucrative. Like, it's very time consuming.
Yeah.
And people, it wasn't going to happen. So I kept knitting. But I had already sort of gone down this path of, like, Wooly Doodle. I'd started playing with the logo. So I basically just removed, like, the knitting needles out of the logo and said, you know what, let's try sewing. I think it works. Yeah. So it works. And at that time, honestly, I didn't think it was going to become anything. It was me teaching myself how to sew on a sewing machine that I bought off Amazon for like $80.
Cool.
And the intent was really just to start sewing. I was sewing dog bandanas and baby clothing because a lot of my friends were starting to have kids and we were going to start having kids. And it really was just me playing around with things, starting to sell to friends and family. And then I did start an Etsy store, and that was sort of my first foray into selling to strangers. So that goes back, I think, about 2016 was when I launched the Etsy store.
Gotcha.
And it was baby bandanas, dog bandanas, and then anything else I could kind of cobble together on my little sewing machine.
Cool.
And in that time, things have just really grown.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, so now it's a full-blown family apparel company. Yeah.
And you're shipping all over the world, right? Or something like that?
Well,
Canada
mainly Canada and to the U.S.
U.S., yeah.
Yes, so I continued to sew for a good chunk of time, and then I did hire one seamstress to help me, and really that we couldn't keep up with the demand. And at this time, by the time I got to hiring my seamstress, I was on maternity leave. So this was kind of a do it while my kid napped or in the evenings project. And I knew that I was going to have to be going back to work. So around November 2017, I went through the steps of starting to engage a larger scale production facility. So they're based in Scarborough, and I remember this, like I emailed them, I told them, I have patterns, I have things that I'm already starting to make, so I'm just going to send you my patterns and you guys can make the clothes. So I had these like cardboard patterns that I had cut out myself. I rolled them up in like one of those poster containers and I shipped them off. And they got them and they were just like, what are these? Like, they were made out of neon dollar store construction paper. They're rolled from being in a tube, and we can't use these. So it took some time working with them, basically taking everything that I was producing and redoing the patterns and making them production grade and just transitioning the business from me and one other person sewing to now large scale production. So that took a few months, and then the goal was when I returned back to work in April of 2018 that they could take over all the production and I could just go back to work and work full time and run the business on the side. So that was April of 2018, and I lasted until September at my full-time job.
Okay, I was going to say you're still not working
No.
full-time. Well, you are working full-time, maybe more hours.
Yeah, so I went back to my job, which I loved.
Yeah.
I was excited to go back after maternity leave, and I honestly thought that, like, I'll just work full-time and still make money there, and then I'll just grow this business on the side until it's huge, and, I'm rolling in money, and then I can quit my job. That's actually what I thought might happen, and it didn't. So around August of last year, I had a moment where I was like, I'm either going to get fired from my job or this company is going to fall apart. I had to make a decision. So my employer was very supportive and actually gave me a year leave of absence from my job so that I could kind of try my hand at Wooly Doodle full time.
So August of last year.
Yeah, so September. So I actually gave my formal notice September 2nd of this month. Yes.
Wow.
So I took the year, and it was an amazing year, and just got to a point where I have to keep going with it. That's
so amazing. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
That's
huge. It is huge. So now Wooly Doodle is my full-time gig. We're in about 23 stores across Canada. We mainly do most of our business through direct online sales. Mm-hmm. We have a new warehouse and showroom here in Chatham, so local customers can come shop. Yeah.
Where's that?
It's at Blair's campus.
Okay.
Yeah, so 55 Forest Street.
I'll
Monday,
post that.
Wednesday, Thursday, 9:30 to 4:30.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll post that in the notes too.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Yes.
So it's really exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump back for a minute because you made me think of something.
Okay.
I saw this post once that talked about, so jumping back to the knitting aspect,
yes.
right? I saw this wonderful post where somebody said, hi, I heard you do custom blankets. Mm-hmm. And so you're talking about scarves. They want an entire knitted blanket.
Yes.
And the person said, okay, and I don't know, let's say it's $400 or something like that. And they said, well, you can do it cheaper than $400. Yeah. And they went, you got to realize it's going to take me about 100 hours to do this, to do this thing. And they said, well, in that case, you should be able to go down like, I don't know, $90.
Yeah.
And there was this back and forth. There was this online sort of meme type thing.
Yeah.
And at the end, they're like, I can't do this. This is not like I got to pay myself something.
Yeah.
Like $90 is my material cost.
Yeah.
And so I think so you've been basically 3 years to go from that stage of this is crazy to this is a whole new level of crazy.
It's the crazy never goes away. It doesn't.
Crazy.
It doesn't go away. It is a new crazy. You're absolutely right though about like the cost, right? So it was when I was making it myself, it became the challenge of my time and building your time into your price point. And when I was sewing myself, I didn't do any wholesaling because I knew if I'm going to spend, X amount of my time making these products, I need to sell them for full price directly to customers.
Sure.
And now the challenge still exists. It's no longer my time sewing the clothing, but now I'm paying someone to do it. Yeah. And I've made the decision to make sure that production is staying right here in Canada and that it's ethically handmade in a place that I can go visit and check in and make sure that employees are being treated fairly. And that's something that's really important. But of course, that means our price points are higher than people that are getting production done elsewhere. So that challenge exists. It's not as difficult as knitting, because that is like the example you gave is like, I understand why that blanket would be $400.
Yeah.
But it definitely is a challenge that is part of our day-to-day for sure.
I love that you're trying to do your best to keep everything Canadian local. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I read on your website, because you blog and post on there.
Sometimes I do.
So I read this. I'm going to quote you to you.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I know. I did my research.
All right. Please read the typos out loud if there are any. Okay.
That'd be really funny. Life is hard. Whether you're dealing with sleep deprivation, the terrible twos, work stress, or whatever else keeps you up at night, we know that some seasons seem to last forever. Hashtag terrible twos. That's me. That was me. I'm in terrible threes right now.
I'm in like terrible 2 and 3/4.
3/4. Yeah, it's good time, isn't it?
Different conversation, different podcast.
Yeah. That's a parenting podcast. Yes, we'll start one day. So you wrote that talking about these different seasons and all these things. I was going to ask you the question of how your season's been so far, but it sounds like things have been exciting, or how is the year been? How have things since March? Since March to now.
What happened in March? So, like March of this year.
March of this year. You wrote that this year. You did.
Okay, yes, because that was when we were launching our spring collection. And so that collection was all around choose happy. So the idea was we wanted to focus on bright colors, bright patterns that, like, no matter what you're going through, would hopefully inspire happiness.
Okay.
To allow you to make that choice to, like, this maybe is a sucky moment, but we can choose to look past it and be happy. So since March, we moved into our new showroom in March of this year.
Okay.
What else has happened? So we launched our spring collection, and then most recently we have launched fall, which launched on Monday the 16th of this month.
Yeah.
And that has been the biggest undertaking so far. And we have a new member of the team who started working part-time a couple weeks ago for us, and she asked, like, every season, do you learn something new, or, like, are you always learning, or is it just, do you feel like you have things figured out now?
Yeah.
And it's interesting to be asked that question because I have someone on my team, Cherise, who she's been on about a year, and it was a game changer. She's very organized. She's all the things that I am not. And so going into this season, we were like, we've got this. We had processes, documents, shared drives on our computer. Like, we were as organized as we could be, and it's still been a gong show. Not for a lack of being organized and trying, it's just we're two people that are trying to pull something off that relies on hundreds of other people. So there's still failures, there's still things going wrong, there's mess ups, even maybe more so than ever, but, like, we feel in control. But they're, like,
that's good.
Yeah. So this season we were really, really ambitious, and we have been getting a lot of feedback about some of the fabrics we were using, some inconsistencies, maybe some quality issues. Timelines for our fabric were taking forever. It was fabric that was also being used by many other companies. And so I made the decision going into fall that I wanted to manufacture all of our own fabric just for Wooly Doodle. So normally I had been doing a little bit, like, dabbling in custom fabric, but you need to have pretty high volumes to do like custom colors or custom knits of fabric. But I was kind of over our past situation. It was causing a lot of issues. And so not only did I say, like, let's just do our own fabric, but we kind of dabbled in some new fabrics and textures. Like, we did a waffle and, like, a Sherpa fleece this year. Cool. So that was a huge undertaking. Probably the source of most of our stress for this season. But, like, when I look back at it, it's something that I'm really, really proud of, because it's all fabric that's now exclusive to Wooly Doodle. It's all knit in Ontario.
That's amazing.
Which, is really, really cool. So we're trying to work towards getting as much of the supply chain as close to home.
Something about Bothwell in here.
Bothwell, yes.
So what's going on with
Jessica. Okay, well, we're going to go back in time a little bit. So, yeah.
Okay.
So the first person I hired, I was sewing, my kid was napping, things were growing, and I had, like, one of my first shows called the Modern Mom Show. Okay. I do it. It's twice a year. It's in London, and we're always there. And I knew that I needed some help to get inventory done. So I put an ad in Kijiji. I had no idea what I was doing, no idea what I was looking for, and this woman, Jessica, replied, and she was very professional. She seemed to know, like, in the email, seemed pretty good. And so I remember, and, like, I'm not a trained sewer, right? So I remember going to her sewing studio and being like, okay, I want you to sew this pair of pants for me. And, like, I was going to watch her do it as if I was any authority on how to sew anything. Sure. And so she did, and she sewed it, and I was like, well, it's better than I can do, so pretty much hired, but let's wait a moment. Yeah. And so I hired Jessica. She had gone to school for like pattern development, pattern drafting. She was a trained seamstress, and I hired her to help me sew these pieces for this show that I did, and that grew, and the volume grew, and so Jessica got busier and busier, and then I had dabbled in some women's shirt. Okay. That was really, really popular. And I had wanted to do, a lot of my customers were asking for, like, a one-piece romper. And so I didn't have the skill set to, like, I don't know how to make pattern for a women's romper. Like, that's far beyond my skill set. So Jessica had that expertise, and so we actually partnered on that piece of clothing and did a bit of profit sharing. So like she developed it, the pattern, she produced it, she started hiring people to help her produce it, and I handled the business side of it.
Okay.
So Jessica, she still sews all of our ladies' rompers. Most of our production now is done in Scarborough just because of the volume and the turnaround, and it would kill Jessica. And we don't want to do that. And so she still makes all of our ladies' rompers out of her studio in Bothwell. And she's also launched her own kids' clothing line. So it's called Frock Freaking Out Clothing, which I knew was always a dream of hers or something that she wanted to do. So she launched that, I want to say maybe 6 months ago. Don't quote me on that, but
have to go visit.
I'm super proud of her. She's definitely got her own style and her own vision for that line. And so she's doing that right now, and she does some alterations, and she still does some production for us as well. So,
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And in between all of these things, so running the business, new skill sets, all these people, you were a panelist at the first Women's Leadership event.
When was that? Was panel.
That? I know.
It was really exciting.
You were great.
Thank you.
The feedback from everyone was... you were one of the 4 favorites. There was 4 panelists. I'm not gonna, so I can't put any panels down.
Right.
But no, they loved it. They loved what you said. They loved how honest you were about things, and that was huge.
That's what I tried to be.
Yeah, it was.
It was a lot of fun.
Feedback was amazing.
Yeah. So. And that was a great event. The room was packed. Like it was like I felt like it was like you maybe promoted it briefly, and like it was sold out within a second. So yes, we did that.
That was amazing. You've got Entrepreneur of the Year.
Yes.
When did you win that?
It was the 2018 Entrepreneur of the Year.
Okay.
So that was I think April was the
chamber
gala.
Gala, yes, yeah.
Yes. So that was really cool, and it was funny because like last year was just so chaotic, and as we moved into this year, like I always try to set some goals, and one of the goals was like, I feel like we're starting to get our head above water a little bit, and it would be really great to get some exposure for the business, whether it's speaking events or awards or whatever. So I thought it was going to be a case where, we were going to have to actively seek out these things and put the applications together. And I remember sitting down thinking the chamber one would be an award that would be such an honor. And I was Googling it and looking, trying to figure out if we had missed the deadline or how you even go about being considered for that. Couldn't really find anything. And then I think 2 weeks later, I got the letter saying that I had been nominated. I still don't know who nominated me. It's anonymous. Ooh. I didn't nominate myself. But yeah, so that was great. And then we went through that process and had to put together the package, the information package for that, and then found out that I won the award earlier this year, and then we had the gala in April. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
And then other cool things. So you named one of Jillian Harris's favorite brands.
Yeah, do you know who Jillian Harris is?
No idea. Okay. I feel terrible. I should have researched.
Well, I mean, you should have. Yes.
I should.
You should have at least Googled her.
I know all about her, but do you?
Oh, right. Sorry, that was a trick question. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Jillian Harris is... I should have prepared what I was going to say on this. So Jillian Harris was on The Bachelor. Then she was The Bachelorette. She's Canadian. And then she hosts Love It or List It Vancouver. Okay. And she is the Instagram influencer, I would say, for my target audience and demographic.
I do know who that person is.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So people love Jillian Harris. She's got 1 million followers on Instagram. And yeah, so I had basically reached out to her team. I went to a conference last year just outside of Niagara-on-the-Lake, and her team was speaking at this event. So I connected with them thinking this might be a great way to get her some product. Mm-hmm. So I was able to do that. I sent some of my product to Jillian Harris. She had a son. I don't think her daughter wasn't born at that time. And or maybe she was. Doesn't matter. I sent her some product. I guess she liked it. Posted it on Instagram. It was good for us. I got some followers, some sales. It was all wonderful. And then she wrote a blog post on her favorite Canadian baby brands and named Wooly Doodle as one of those brands. She's someone that really tries to support, Canadian business and local business. So it was really exciting, like to take a moment and think like this little hobby that I started in my basement is now a brand that's being recognized by people that I consider to be pretty cool.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I saw on the site as well that you were worried about applying for the Fedex grant.
Yes.
But you did.
I did.
And your finalist is what I know.
Yes.
Where's that?
So, well, I didn't get it.
You didn't get it?
No,
Okay.
I didn't get it. But that's okay. So,
But you made it through some hurdles on this, right, to get there. So.
Well, so, yes, I had a few people send it to me to say, like, you should do this grant or you should apply for this grant. And I think one of my biggest challenges has been, like, wondering if what I'm going through as a business owner is normal, right? So I am, like, constantly in debt. Like, and I think a lot of that is in part, it's due to the fact that the company has been growing so quickly. So I am like, no matter what we're bringing in, it's going into the next season. And so it's in and it's out but there are times when I feel like, it would be nice to have some money, but applying for something like that, like, does that mean that I'm failing? Does it mean that I'm desperate? Like the act of, putting it out there saying like, I could really use that money. Does that,
Sure.
It makes you feel vulnerable. So I kind of put it aside, and I'm also someone that doesn't like campaigning. I feel bad. Like I don't know. Like I feel bad going on Facebook being like, vote for me. And every day on Instagram, like that's just not me.
But I think you've got such a supportive community in Chatham-Kent that
Yes.
everyone, clearly you made it as a finalist, right?
Yes. Yes.
And it's not like FedEx was just going, okay, well, we're just going to focus on Chatham.
Yeah.
This was a big deal.
Yeah, it
right?
was national.
Yeah.
So I made the decision to apply, but I wanted to be very transparent about why. In the hopes that if there are other people that were feeling that way too, that it's like, that maybe see my business and think, well, she's got it all together, or she must be like rolling in money. Like I feel like that vulnerability and sharing why I was doing it and how challenging it was for me to actually apply for that maybe would help other people that were kind of having the same feelings. So I made it my point that if I was going to campaign and remind people every day to vote, that I was going to hopefully add some value to their day as well. So I did some really goofy stuff. I don't know if you watched.
Okay.
There's a whole highlight reel. I might have deleted it. I don't even know. Like I lip synced to things. We did like a whole Titanic. It was a Titanic
Oh, now I'm
scene.
going to dig it up.
Yeah. But I asked people like, what do you want? Like, do you want videos of my kid telling knock knock jokes? Do you want me lip syncing to Celine Dion? And you're going to look it up right now on YouTube.
I'm going to make sure I make a note to.
Okay. Yeah, let's take that one offline. But yeah, I tried to make it fun. And like if people were going to take the time out of their day to vote for me, I wanted to like take the time out of my day to like make it fun for them or give them something. So yeah, I made it. I think they took the top 300 based on votes. And then out of that, they narrowed it down to 75. And that's as far as I got.
That's impressive. So well done.
What it said to me is to get to the point of, being amongst the top votes. That's what mattered. I mean, I'd like the money, but what that says to me is that I have a whole bunch of people supporting this business. And if I didn't meet FedEx's criteria or what they were looking for, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in this business for FedEx.
No.
I'm in this business for my followers and my customers. So to get to that point was just, it just sort of said that, you know what, people are supportive, they're there, they care, they want this business to succeed. And that was really, really touching and rewarding all in itself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think one of the takeaways I've had from following these things and seeing some of the other ways you're interacting with people is a lot of people come into the Small Business Center, into economic development and say, how do I market? How do I do this? And their expectation is very, much in the way of, I need to get a newspaper ad, and then I need to go and do X, Y, Z, and it's a formula, and that's
yes.
it.
Check
right?
the box.
Check the boxes, and nothing against newspaper or anything like that. I'm just saying it's a formula, right? As though this is the perfect fit, and everybody does this, and if you do that, you're successful. You're doing things that are unique, and you know, you're talking to influencers. You're not just applying for a grant. You're taking it as an opportunity to say, "Hey, I'm going to work with my peoples on this, my audience," you know, and turning it into a bit of a marketing, and a communication opportunity, right?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And so good job is where I'm going with that. Is great. Planning and great execution on these things to not just make it another I'm going to fill in some blanks and expect results.
There has to be intention behind everything is the way I look at it. And if you're going to take the time to sit down and apply for something, if you're going to do any of those things, if you're going, even a post on Instagram has to have an intention. It's not just, well, somebody told me to post every day, so I'm just going to post a picture every day. The intention might be just to make your feed look pretty. That's fine. Your intention might be to sell something, to share a bit of information about yourself, but there needs to be intention, and that's something that I've always had since day one. And not only intention, but how does this, what is the value that someone's going to get out of it?
Yes. Yeah.
So.
Perfect.
Yeah. I've never been a check the box person. Always been very unconventional.
I mean, if that's someone's starting point,
yes,
that's great.
Yeah.
But there's so much more in a world that's saturated.
Yeah.
There's so much more in terms of communicating and marketing and planning and thinking those things out.
Absolutely.
Sorry, that's the marketer and me chatting. But all of these things tie together, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, one more thing I want to there's so many more things I want to talk to you about. Nominee for the RBC Women of Influence Awards.
Yeah. Yes. So I mean, that one didn't go very far, but still cool. So that actually was I was meeting with my banker one day, and he had another colleague sit in, and I guess she was training, and so I was just trying to get them to give me more money.
Sure.
But of course, we started talking about the business, and it probably lasted an hour of just me talking about the business, because that's what I do. And then, left, wonderful meeting. And then I got a call from that woman a couple months later saying that she had nominated me for the big national RBC Women of Influence Award, just based on that conversation. I guess she got inspired and was inspired by the business and by what I was talking about. And so that one, I, again, put forward all the information, got an email saying that was as far as the road was going to go. But, again, just an honor to be thought of for those things. Absolutely. And every time you sit down and have to put together a package kind of explaining why you should be winning those types of awards, it's a great exercise of reflection and looking back at what you've achieved. And always good.
Well, congratulations and for being nominated, but being nominated and not asking. Like, somebody took the time to say...
Yes, it was a complete surprise.
They keep doing amazing things. And a banker said, "You're doing amazing things. Let me nominate you."
We're not going to give you all of the credit you asked for, but how about this nomination? Yeah.
It's like a wonderful life all over.
Yeah.
Okay. I've stolen a lot of your time, so thank you so much.
We could talk all day.
We got the Etsy event coming up this weekend.
Yes.
So
Etsy Made in Canada is taking place tomorrow. 10 to 4, I believe.
Yes.
That's downtown Chatham. Great event. I have to give a shout out to 519 Events
and promo.
McDonald. Yep. I'm very picky with the events that I do because it's a lot of time.
Yes.
And it's time I could be with my family, but they kill it every single time. So we did the Dresden Market in the summer, the night market.
You were there too? I was there.
Yeah. It was awesome.
It was so busy I didn't even get to walk around.
Yeah, so. It was crazy. And so we're doing the event tomorrow, which should be a lot of fun. It's going to rain. But hey, if you come see us, 15% off
there you go.
Our booth. Bring an umbrella.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
Yeah,
Even if it's pouring rain, it's such a neat event. There's so many unique things that they pull together.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
You're speaking again because you have all this free time
Yes.
at the Elevate event on October 10th.
Yep.
That's So what are you talking about there? What's your plan?
I don't really know what the plan is.
don't know what the plan?
I think it's
Okay.
it's just like this, casual conversations. I got connected with Jess and Angel when they started their events, and I'm super. So where they've moved into on Queen,
Yes, over at the Cove.
yes,
Yep.
is right next. Well, it's like a couple doors down from where our first official office was. We were right in the corner there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And we've since left, but I am so proud of the space that they've created there at the Cove. It looks beautiful. I was at their grand opening. I just think those ladies are doing amazing things, and so I'm really excited to hang out with them on the 10th and have some good conversation. And
Yeah, that'd be exciting.
yeah.
I'm going over to chat with her
I
today.
had to do this and then get through the weekend, and then I'll think about that.
Okay.
We're
Think
still
about that
2
later.
weeks out.
Yeah, and then there's something in Sarnia
Yes,
as
the
well.
Spark event in Sarnia. That one's being held at Lambton College. I think it's being put on by the Sarnia Chamber of Commerce. And that's a one-day event for leaders and entrepreneurs in the area. So not quite sure what I'm speaking about at that event yet.
Yeah.
But again, we're quite a ways out. But it's looking like it's going to be a really, really cool event. So yeah, excited.
That's awesome. Okay, your website.
My website
What's your website?
is www.woolydoodle.com. That's WOOLYDOODLE.com.
Yep. And if you Google it, it comes up really quickly.
It
does.
It does. Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
Gold star.
Yeah.
Instagram at Wooly Doodle. We're on Facebook too.
Yeah. I like your Instagram feed. It's cool.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you're doing, like I said, you're killing it. You're doing great out
Thanks.
there.
It's a lot of fun. And even in the most stressful of times, I get up every day and I want to do it. So that means something, right?
It means something.
It means everything.
Should I put you on the spot? Because I know your husband Kane. How's he feeling about this?
Yes, so my husband has been amazing. And when I had that moment where I was like, I'm going to get fired or my business is going to crumble, I sat down to say, like, something's got to give. Yeah. And without a moment's hesitation, he said, you need to do Wooly Doodle. So, it's definitely meant some changes for our lifestyle. It's been some sacrifices all around, but I think he knows and he sees it in me that this is what I love to do, and that I'm not done doing this yet, and there's still, quite a ways for me to go. So he has been nothing but supportive, and I could not be more appreciative of that. So.
Well, when you make your millions and he can retire and
yeah, I don't think he's banking on that, I think he's just happy to see me happy, and it helps me be a happier mom to our son, and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
He's been great.
Yeah. It isn't always about money. Sometimes it's about just happy.
Right. It's just about happiness.
Yeah.
That's all.
It really is.
Yes, it's a fine balance of the whole equation, right?
It's good. Thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate this. This has been awesome. I'm just going to give a quick mention. We have so many events going on for October because it is Small Business Month. Starting in less than a few days. It's October 1st is the start of Small Business Month, and there's so much stuff
I
going
signed up for one.
Did you?
The coding one?
Oh, are you going to Women in Coding?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
And I told all these people that they need to come too, and that you don't need to be like a techie person to code. I have basic HTML, and it's such an asset.
That's
perfect. I'm there.
That's
I'm bringing
amazing.
my assistant, who's
Awesome.
not techie at all, and she's excited. So
that's so good.
Sign up.
Yeah, and it's that one in particular is huge because this is the first time they've been to Chatham.
Because it's ladies learning code, right?
Yeah.
So I did their full day boot camp in Toronto.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And I built a really silly website that, I don't know, was a website about my dogs or something. But
Sure.
the basic knowledge you get is super empowering for anyone that's using web applications.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It is more geared towards women, but anyone's invited, so anyone can come out to this. But yeah, it's so that's awesome. I'm so glad
you can tell them about the rest of the events now that
you know what? No, you know what? There's so many. I'm just gonna say, check out our Facebook page. That's at CKECDev, because I think we've got 12 or more events going on, and so many activities, and I can't even get into them all right now. Although you should go to the October 3rd event, which is our Masters of Mentors. Mentors of the Universe. Mentors of the Universe. It's like Mentors of the Universe.
Do you get to wear like a cape?
You can.
Could, right? It's not outside of the dress code.
No.
Okay. I will look into that. We've got it busy. I'm in Toronto actually October 5th, 6th for the baby show.
There's a few thousand things
there's
going
a lot
on in
of
your
things,
life. It's okay. I get it.
But it looked really cool.
So
if I'm not there, I'll be like cheering you on in a cape from somewhere.
50 or 60 people signed up right now. So, and
cool.
it's over at Sons of Kent, and it's going to be awesome. So one of the many events going on. It's going to be fun. Okay. As my colleagues would say, stay classy, Chatham-Kent, and that's how we say goodbye out here. So thanks again.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Okay.